equal mc square.
So talking about maths, and this is sort of fuzzy question I had purely based on maths. What is your understanding of infinity? Because everyone talks about their different. Everyone has their own opinion on infinity. People have a philosophical angle on it. People have a scientific angle on it. But in your personal opinion, what do you think of infinity as a concept and as something in mathematics?
I feel it's a very interesting and a very broad concept. First of all, it's not that infinity is just that symbol, but that symbol has got a lot of things to do. It helps us with our calculus, with our limits, with things that you can't imagine. And a simple way of looking at it would just be that infinity is something which is extremely large. And if you define what is large, I will give you one more than that and make it larger. Yeah. So that's how infinity is. But it's quite interesting. There are a lot of things that you can actually read on infinity, like the paradox of the infinite hotel. That is a very interesting one, and similar things. Yeah.
So you've been a teacher for a really long time now. Have you made question papers yourself? And if yes, what's the process of making questions that are not from any other resources? Have you ever made your own question fresh?
Yes, and I do them in the IB too. So which means that if you see my IB papers, you could find questions that are made and you won't find them online. That's just because, so you have a rough idea of what you need to ask. So for example, if you're dealing with quadratics, you know that you can talk about the roots, you can talk about the graph, talk about the y-intercept, you can talk about the turning point, you can talk about the axis of symmetry. You have these tools. Now your aim is to just pick up 2 or 3 of these tools that you want as answers and work backwards. So you can create a question. You don't need to depend on past papers or textbooks. I set one question. This was in one paper. This was, we used to call it the mock exam, the prelim paper. IB Maths SL, the older course. And to adjust the marks, I had selected from past papers. That was my first time teaching the IB, so I had selected from past papers here and there. There was one particular question which I remember. I don't know the question, but I remember it had 4 sub-questions in the actual paper, A, B, C and D. But I needed only up till C to adjust that many marks. So I set A, B and C. The student wrote the answer to D also, without the question being on the paper. And I was predicting based on those mock exams. I predicted 7. The student gets a 5. Because everything goes wrong, right? She's been writing from memory. How does she know the answer to D when it's not even on the paper?
Oh my God.
So that's why you need to make questions. You should avoid past paper questions completely. Or if you take a past paper question, you should try to tweak it a bit. That is what's in case. Some students tend to write from memory. You have these parents telling you, no, do a past paper every day. The child does the same past paper 4 or 5 times, remembers it, comes to the school, is able to replicate exactly the same thing. But slight change here and there, cannot do it. Why? Because the concept is not well known.
So talking about mathematics as a profession, what do people who do maths for a living, like mathematicians in quotes, how do they go about their daily lives and what are things they tackle on a daily basis?
So that was always a question that I had when I was about to enroll for my PhD, and because when you check university websites, you're supposed to give a proposal of what you intend to work on. At that point, you're completely blank because you think, okay, I want to work on this. This is a nice thing. Only to realize that it's already finished by somebody else, it's already done by somebody else. This is something that someone has already proved. You don't have to prove it. I've been writing to people about, I would like to do this. It's already done. So you don't know. Till you interact with somebody who is working on a project, he already has something in mind. He has finished his PhD. He's working on something. Then you assist him. You get to know those ideas that he's working on, and you struggle with it. You spend time over there. Eventually, you realize that, okay, in that journey, you realize that these are areas that are still not tackled, or that are still have scope for research. And when you get those areas, then you pick up one of those and then you start your journey. And then through that you will keep on, I would say, you keep on getting newer and newer ideas.
So they publish these papers and that's how they earn their money.
Right. So when you as a PhD student, you don't publish by yourself. You always publish with your thesis advisor, with your batchmates. So it's like you co-author a paper. Once you get well versed with those areas, then you can try and be the first author of your publication.
So you just talked about students in the previous answer. Is there one student that stood out to you like in your entire teaching career, or like a couple of students, or even like a whole class of any school you teach or university you teach?
I didn't. That's not the only one student, but that was one student I remember because of the PG was badly affected. But there are many students who do that. So I've always tried and tested. If I have an exact past paper question, I will find, I would say at least 30-40% of the class would be able to answer it correctly. And those I'm talking about students who are not good in the subject. So it does happen. Not in the initial stages. For example, if an IB course just starts and if I put a past paper question over there, it is not really likely that there will be such a huge percentage. But if it's towards like the end of the IB course, definitely.
I also remember so because it's not even maths, like even sometimes after the business studies paper or something like that, people used to come out and be, oh, I found this the day before, or someone used to, and this sort of commotion always used to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So is there any one student like in a good way, like you just thought he or she was like brilliant in mathematics, and you just saw like he or she had like a future in math, like you felt inside?
Definitely. I won't be able to take any names particularly, but yes, I did find students who were, I found students who were very fast and who were well read, and they read the content much before they came to the course, so they were well aware of the content and the syllabus and highly motivated.
Talking about like teaching, so is there any other profession you have done apart from teaching? Like,
No.
Nope.
No.
So what impresses you as a math teacher? Like what does a student do to like impress officers?
Oh, to impress me.
It's fully coming from him.
So, well, if I find that you are motivated, you are enjoying the subject, and you communicate with me, then I'm quite impressed with that, because I've had students in the past also and also in the current year who constantly keep writing to me. I came across this question, this is my idea, what do you think, or how can I refine it? Those are good conversations. So I appreciate and I encourage those kind of conversations.
So that was a great talk with you. We'd really like to thank you for taking time out of your day to like joining us for this interview.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I enjoyed my time here.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Bye.